All right, here we go. Monday, February 24. Good morning and welcome. It is back cold at the beach. It's been a rainy, cold weekend, but man, tons to talk about. We were out there showing all weekend. Man, I will tell you, before we get into the numbers, there's some surprising things, but I've got another soapbox to get on at the end, and then I've just got to remind you guys of one very important thing. But also, this week it's kind of fun because I'm taking questions that I got over YouTube this past week, and I'm going to share them out loud with you guys because they're very good questions, and I'm just going to bring them to you as a group, and then invite anybody else that has questions after this to shoot them my way. I love answering them, and we'll dive right into it. So let's get into the numbers though and see how they look, and then we'll get into some of the other stuff. So here we go. All right, this week at hand, let's see guys how we're going to do. You guys know what we're looking for. All right, here we go. New listings right there, 70. Okay, 70 new listings. So I mean, when we got 70 new listings like that, that is what? That is, kind of what we've been used to, over the last couple of weeks, right? 70's up there. We've been in the mid 60s. We've been above 50. And so that trend continues, guys. That's 4 weeks in a row that we're up there in the new listings. But what do we look for? How are the ratios balancing out? Okay. How are they looking? Let's see. All right. Let's look into let's see here. So here we are with the pendings. What are they going to be? 24 under contract. So 24 under contract. And I'm just going to roll through these numbers real quick. 70 new listings, 24 under contract. Now listen, 24 under contract, this number I'm hovering over is not a bad number. If you've seen us for any amount of time, that's like 6 weeks in a row. We've been super consistent in the mid 20s. We love consistency, right? Well, what I'm saying to you is that we love to be 50% of that new listing. That's the ratio we're looking for. We want to be at 35 because that's what we're all fall. And for those of you just joining us, that 50% ratio is just basically us saying that if we're bringing out 50 new listings, we like to at least take away 25 under contract to kind of keep pace with what we did through, for the most part, through 2024. Okay. So what we're seeing right now over the last couple of weeks is that the number of new listings have been outpacing our ratio, that 50% we want. We're up on 3 weeks of being out of bounds with that ratio being up closer to 65%. Okay. All right. Of the new listings being a little bit top heavy. Let's look at closings. 23, again, very consistent. We like for the closings to be right there with the pendings, right? So nothing wrong with that. But here's the one thing we always check, right? Price changes, 57. That's up there too. Okay? So that's up there too. So listen, what's the takeaway from this so far? All right? Here we go again. And so with 70 new listings and 57 price changes, what's the market telling us? The reason I'm harping on that is that for a while I was telling you, and it's still true, that many agents were taking, when they were doing price changes, they were taking them down off the market, bringing them back on as new listings, and it was skewing the numbers a little bit on the new listings. But here's the challenge. When we've got a high number of new listings and also a decently high number of price changes, I can't blame the new listings on the price changes anymore. There's still some of it. So here's the fact, no sugarcoating it. We're seeing an increase in listings, all right, over what we saw the majority of the fall. And the contracts we're writing are not keeping pace with the ratio to the amount of new listings like we were the last half of the year last year. Now, I'm not ringing any bells. These are just facts. They're numbers. Again, our motto here, we don't get into emotions, we get into facts, right? Feelings, facts over numbers. Excuse me, numbers over feelings. So listen, here's what I'm trying to say on that. But it is the season. I want to stress this again. This is when real estate agents are pushing for new listings for their business. This is when people kind of wake up and go, what am I going to do in 2025 with my property? Okay. So I'm not surprised by the number of new listings, but from what I feel out there, I was thinking that the pending sales will be closer because we've been busy. We've been writing business. We were showing property all week last week, and we got a busy. I'm negotiating today on 2, right? So it's busy. So we're going through that. But I'm not ringing bells yet because we're in that season where we're pushing and adding along. But I'm going to say this again, and this is another soapbox. I've looked at this hot sheet already, and I hope that if you're getting it from Boomtown or whatever you're getting it from me, man, there's still not a lot of super compelling prices that are coming out there. They're not. Like, it's not, you're not rolling through the hot sheet and going, man, that is something that buyers are going to jump all over right now. The majority of the prices that are coming out are okay. I mean, they might get some looks at that, but it's not super compelling to kind of push anybody forward. And what I'm telling you is, in certain segments, it takes something compelling to push people forward. Let me get on this box real quick before we get onto our questions this week. So there's certain, I received 2 calls last week. This is very sincere, and I appreciate these questions. But it's more about the Florida market. Casey, what are you seeing with the housing inventory? How do you think the inventory is affecting everything? My follow-up question is, where specifically are you looking for? What kind of product are you looking for? Is there a certain community you're looking for? Because here's the thing. It's tough for me to throw a blanket because I've personally watched 2 people miss out on opportunities since the first of the year because instead of just focusing on the inventory level that they really want to buy at, they want to focus on the mass inventory level and think that it's going in their favor. And meanwhile, options that they were interested in are gone. And now there's even less in that category. I'll give you an example to be fair. West end of 30A right now from Grayton through Dune Allen. I had a customer looking for the 1.5 to 2 million range. There's currently 57 homes on the market in that range with 3 pending. That's not saying they're not selling, but the inventory and the competition is steep. So the buyers are taking their time and they have the affordability to shop right now. Now, I've got a Grayton Beach buyer. They really want to be in Grayton Beach. There are 4 options in all of Grayton Beach for sale. We are looking. I am sending letters. We are hunting for something. And if the right thing pops up, because the 4 that are on the market are not exactly what they're looking for, but if it does rear its head, we're going to be in a street fight for that property. This weekend, I showed lakefront property. My buyers, awesome buyers, for their lifestyle, they wanted to be lakefront on one of our coastal dune lakes up to a certain price point. I dug around. I called agents. I sent area emails. I could only come up with 5 options to show them. So here's what I'm stressing to you. You can watch videos on Florida. You can watch national media videos. You can call your friends in Baton Rouge, Atlanta, whatever you want to do. But don't judge. If you're sincerely looking to purchase something, you need to get honed in on what the inventory is like for what you are looking for. Don't let the masses get clout. Don't be concerned with if Panama City is having an influx of condos on the market and how that relates to your water sound search. Focus on water sound. Otherwise, you're going to miss it. And I'm telling you this, guys, this is a unique time for buyers. And the ones that are striking right now are seeing that there might be limited options for what they're looking for, but also they're looking to see if they find one that makes sense. They're approaching with offers that make sense to them. Because I'm going to tell you this, I think we're going to be in these interest rates for a while. So I think what we're doing right now is going to be steady. But if Trump and the crew decide those interest rates are going to come down, there are so many people on the sidelines. And I don't think it's going to happen anywhere in the short term. But what I'm telling you is, if you're not working with me, you're working with somebody else, you need to get really focused on what you want. Now, if you don't care what you want and you can have anything out there as long as it's a deal, then hang out, see what happens. It doesn't matter, right? But I got some people that are like, Casey, I need a 4-bedroom condo, it needs to be over 2,000 square feet, and I want it on the Gulf. Listen, there's like 15 of them. You might want to dial in. Like in certain markets, we're seeing a run up, okay? So we really got to focus. All right, couple of questions. One really good question. Casey, it's been about 6 months now since the NAR lawsuit settled, where I had to come to you guys and explain that in the power of disclosure due to that lawsuit, we basically, when we're showing a buyer, having a relationship with a buyer, we go into it and have a buyer brokerage agreement where they agree to pay my commission on the buy side if the seller is not offering commission on the list side. Okay? That's what that whole lawsuit was about. So when I go to show, I have a buyer brokerage agreement signed, and then we approach the seller to see if they're offering commission. I want to share with you my ratio of when I've been representing a buyer, how many times I've gotten paid by the seller. 100%. I want to share my ratio of when I'm representing a seller, how many times we paid the buyer's agent in a transaction. 100% of the time. Listen, guys, this was a big nothing burger. A lot of people got paid. I appreciate the side of it. If there were agents out there that truly weren't explaining to sellers that part of the commission went to a buyer's agent and part of it went to the listing agent, I can't imagine a world where that was happening, but I get it. But what I'm telling you is commission's a closing cost just like anything else. We technically could have always negotiated it. And I've been a part of transactions where they're like, hey, listen, we got down to this. I can't do everything. I can't pay all these closing costs. Let's work something out. I get that, but that's always been the case. But what I'm telling you is that sellers have, for the most part, have agreed, listen, let's just take into account our pricing that we're going to pay the buyer's agent because we're not going to add one more thing to the buyers to do right now, okay? And on the buy side, it's understandable. We're getting relationships with agreements. We're agreeing to work with our client, and we want to make sure that we're paid if the seller happens to not be paying commission. And guess what? They're fine with it because they know up front. These are not surprise things, right? Like we go into this, we know, hey guys, this house you've narrowed it down to, they are offering me a commission, so no need to you. You can just focus on the price that you'd like to purchase the house at. That's the way this world's working, okay? So that was a really, really good question, and I appreciate it. But I can tell you that, man, that was 2 months of people talking about a lot of stuff, and we're doing business as usual, aside from making sure that the new forms and everything are in place the way that they should, and taking that extra layer of conversation just so everybody explains why we're having them sign the forms that they are. Okay? What was the other question I got? Oh, Casey, any latest update on the rental? So listen, this year is a little different. Easter's back some. So spring break is really, I checked in with my rental companies, March 14th, okay, is kind of when it kicks off down here. And Atlanta this year is split into 2 weeks. We have an infamous Atlanta week down here that seemed like entire metro would come and right on 38, and everybody was here at the same time. Well, the school systems apparently have balanced that out to 2 weeks this year. So we're not going to have that huge impact week. But from March 14th through Easter, it's going to be busy, okay? What the rental companies are telling us right now, and another video I'm going to do this week, is that we're basically at all-time highs on the amount of nights available, meaning we've got new inventory available in rental. We see that. There's new construction everywhere, all right? But they're saying the demand is selling back into where we were in like 2019-ish, okay? Which was really good. It just got wild between 20 and 23. Now, I don't know that. I still think it's more popular than it was in 19. So I'm saying we're going to fill more nights than we did in 2019. But I get their point, is that we've got new inventory out there, all right? But we're getting back on pace with where we were back then. So appreciate that. So that might lead people to believe, listen, there's more options out there. We're going to have to get more competitive on price. Listen to me. When we're buying, when you're looking to make some kind of purchase down here, or you're looking for a property, you want to find those properties now that really single themselves out, make themselves different. But that's always been the case, right? Like nothing's changed with that. So the more attractive you are when there's a lot of inventory, the more you're going to be sought out. So if you want to stand out right now, I've got clients, I heard from one the other day, they're blowing it out over in Highland Park, really just killing it. But they've done some things. They're doing it on their own. They've done some cool things that are making them stand out. So there's an opportunity here because a lot of things are blending in, okay? So listen, I love the questions. I've got 2 calls with 2 of you today from YouTube. I love it. I appreciate you. I appreciate you watching every time, hitting me with these questions. We're in the field all day today, rest of the week. We're negotiating. So if anything comes up that we can help with, please do not hesitate. And as you can see, I finally got a mic. So if this sounds better to you, thank you for hanging in so long. But y'all have an awesome day. I'm going to end this one, and we'll see you a little later this week.